Captain Daeho Kim stood tall on the bridge of the Earth Coalition vessel Horizon *. His hands were clasped behind his back as he watched the alien ship grow larger on the main screen. It was unlike any spacecraft humans had built. The ship looked almost alive, with a surface that shifted and moved like skin. "Are we recording everything?" Daeho asked, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "Yes, Captain," Science Officer Ju Song replied. Her eyes never left her screens as data poured in. "Their ship appears to be partially biological. It's not just metal and machines." The Horizon * had been on a routine exploration mission when they detected the alien signal. Humanity had wondered for centuries if they were alone in the universe. Today, in the year 2157, they would finally get their answer. "They're hailing us," Communications Officer Ta Jin Park announced. His fingers moved quickly over his console. "I think our translation software can handle their language." Daeho took a deep breath, opened the channel. The screen changed to show a tall, slender being with pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. The alien had no hair and 4 long fingers on each hand. When it spoke, its voice was musical but cold. "I am Ambassador Krell of the Verax Dominion. We have been observing your kind for some time. I am Captain Daeho Kim of the Earth Coalition. We welcome this historic first contact between our peoples." The alien's face showed little emotion. "Your species is younger than we expected, yet you have spread to multiple planets in your system." "We are explorers," Daeho said with pride. "We seek knowledge and peaceful relations with other beings." Ambassador Krell tilted his head. "You will accompany us to our vessel for proper discussions. Bring your science and diplomatic teams." Hours later, Daeho, Ju, and 3 other crew members stood in a vast chamber aboard the Verax ship. The room itself seemed alive. The walls pulsed gently, and strange creatures moved through clear tubes that ran across the ceiling. "These are not machines," Ju whispered, scanning with her handheld device. "They're living organisms, engineered to serve specific functions." Ambassador Krell returned with several other Verax. "For 10,000 years, we have perfected the art of biological engineering," he explained. "Every function that requires technology, we create life to perform. Your reliance on cold, dead machines is primitive." Daeho watched as a small creature with multiple limbs brought drinks to the Verax. Another organism on the wall changed color to adjust the lighting. "These creatures," Ju asked, unable to contain her scientific curiosity, "do you create them from scratch?" "Of course," a Verax scientist replied. "Each is designed for its exact purpose. Nothing wasted, nothing excessive." The humans were then led to a larger chamber. Inside were creatures that made Daeho's blood run cold. Sleek predators with razor-sharp claws paced in contained areas. Flying beings with metallic-looking wings hovered above. Aquatic monsters swam in huge tanks. "Our guardians," Ambassador Krell said with obvious pride. "Perfect killing machines when needed. They follow commands without question and fear nothing." Diplomatic Officer Sun Me-cho spoke carefully. The Verax seemed to have replaced all technology with engineered life forms. Krell nodded. "Machines break. They lack adaptation. Life, properly guided, is superior in every way." He looked at the human delegation with new interest. "Tell me, how do your weapons function? Also with crude machinery?" Daeho felt uneasy at the question. "We have various defense systems. Some biological research, yes, but primarily advanced technology." The ambassador made a sound like quiet laughter. "How interesting. Perhaps your species is even less advanced than we thought." As the tour continued, Daeho noticed how the Verax watched them. Not as equals, but as curiosities. Maybe even as potential subjects. Later, back on the Horizon *, Daeho called his officers together. "They look down on us," Sun Me said plainly. "They see our technology as primitive compared to their living tools." Ju nodded. Their bioengineering is thousands of years beyond ours. But did you notice how specialized each creature was? Perfect for one task, but incapable of adaptation. Daeho looked out at the stars. Send all our data to Earth immediately. I don't think the Verax came here just to say hello. And I don't think they're done with us yet. He was right. 6 months later, the Verax would return in force. 6 months passed quickly. Earth's scientists studied the data from the first Verax encounter day and night. Military leaders made plans. Politicians debated. But no one was truly ready when the Verax returned. Admiral Hansol Park stood at the main window of Earth's orbital defense station. The view normally showed the beautiful blue planet below and the stars above. Today, it showed hundreds of Verax ships. They filled the sky like a swarm of insects. They came with their whole fleet, Hansol said, his voice tight. This is not a friendly visit. General Yin Jikang nodded grimly. Our sensors show over 300 vessels. Many are over twice the size of our largest ships. The main screen lit up with the now familiar face of Ambassador Krell. People of Earth, the Verax began. We have studied your civilization. We have decided your place in the galactic order. Hansol stepped forward. Ambassador, we welcome peaceful dialogue between our peoples. Krell's expression didn't change. There will be no dialogue. The Verax Dominion has ruled this sector for 50,000 years. Species rise and fall. Those with potential become protectorates. Those without disappear. The room grew cold as everyone understood the threat. Earth will submit to Verax protection, Krell continued. You will provide resources and territory. In exchange, you may continue to exist under our guidance. Hansol kept his face neutral despite his anger. And if we wish to remain independent, then you will be removed, Krell said simply. Your technology is primitive. Your understanding of life itself is childish. You are not evolved enough to be true partners in the galaxy. The screen went dark. The Verax had ended the transmission. In the emergency meeting that followed, Earth's leaders gathered in the station's conference room. They want to make us slaves, President Mirecho said, her hands flat on the table. Their protection means taking what they want from our system. Hansol brought up the military assessment. We're outmatched. Their ships are faster, their weapons stronger. And those living weapons we saw. He shook his head. Our conventional forces can't compete. The room fell silent until a small voice spoke from the back. Maybe we shouldn't try to compete on their terms. All eyes turned to Dr. Subin Lee, Earth's leading xenobiologist. Please explain, the president said. Subin walked to the front of the room. The Verax are masters of genetic engineering. They've spent thousands of years perfecting it. We can't match that. So you're saying we surrender? General Kang asked angrily. No. Subin pulled up images from the first contact. I'm saying we fight differently. The Verax creatures are perfect, yes, but in a controlled way. Each one is made for specific conditions, specific tasks. Commander Jai-hun Choi leaned forward. What are you suggesting? Subin took a deep breath. Earth has the harshest environments in our known galaxy. We have creatures that live in boiling water, crushing depths, acid pools, and radioactive zones. Creatures that have survived for millions of years through natural evolution. The room was silent as everyone began to understand. The Verax engineer their beasts in labs. Subin continued. Ours were forged in hell. What if we stop trying to match their precise engineering and instead use what Earth already gave us? Creatures that adapt, that survive against all odds. Hansol saw the first real hope since the Verax arrived. Can we weaponize Earth's extremophiles fast enough? They won't wait forever. Jai-hun stood up. My special forces have been studying biological warfare countermeasures for years. We have facilities already in place. And I know just the team to lead this, Subin added. Dr. Jai-won Kang has been studying deep-sea creatures that would make the Verax nightmares look tame. President Cho looked at the massive alien fleet on the screens. They'd given us 1 week to decide. That's all the time we have to start this project. Han Sol nodded grimly. Then we better work fast. Because if this fails, there won't be humans left to try again. As the meeting ended, Su Bin looked at the images of the elegant, deadly Verax creatures one more time. They've never faced anything that evolved on Earth, she whispered. They have no idea what real survival looks like. 3 days after the Verax ultimatum, a secret base deep under the Pacific Ocean buzzed with activity. The facility had been built years ago for deep-sea research, but now it served a new purpose. Large signs on every wall read, Project HELLFORG in bold red letters. Dr. Jaiwan Kang looked through her microscope at a sample from a hydrothermal vent. The tiny organisms lived where no normal life should exist, in water hot enough to melt lead, filled with toxic chemicals. These little fighters have survived for billions of years, she said to no one in particular. They've seen mass extinctions come and go. The lab door opened and Su Bin Li entered with Admiral Han Sol. Ji-won stood up quickly. Admiral, we didn't expect you so soon, she said. Han Sol looked around the busy lab. The Verax have started setting up bases on Mars and our outer moons. We have less time than we thought. What progress can you show me? Jai-won led them to a large screen showing a map of Earth with red dots marking locations. These are Earth's most extreme environments, she explained. Deep ocean trenches with crushing pressure, volcano vents filled with acid, radioactive zones, places where life shouldn't exist, but does. Su Bin added, we've collected samples from all these places. Creatures that eat metals, survive radiation, live without oxygen, or withstand temperatures that would cook normal cells. Han Sol frowned. Impressive. But how does this help us fight the Verax? Jai-won moved to another screen showing complex molecules. The Verax engineer their creatures from the ground up. Each one is perfect but specialized. Our approach is different. We take organisms that already survive hell and help them adapt even faster. She pulled up video of a test chamber. Inside, a strange-looking creature with a hard shell moved through boiling liquid. This was originally a type of deep-sea snail, Jai-won explained. We've accelerated its natural adaptation process. Now it can survive temperatures 3 times hotter than before. Can it fight? Han Sol asked bluntly. Not yet, Jai-won admitted. But that's where the military team comes in. She led them to another section where Commander Gai-hun worked with a team of soldiers in lab coats. They stood around a tank containing what looked like a squid, but with metallic parts growing from its body. This is one of our first prototypes, Gai-hun said proudly. It's based on a deep-sea squid that already had iron compounds in its beak. We've enhanced that trait. It can now cut through metal. Han Sol looked skeptical. The Verax have creatures designed specifically for war. Beasts with claws that can tear through steel, biological weapons that target specific systems. A new voice joined the conversation, and that's exactly why we'll win. They turned to see researcher Min Ji-yoon approaching with a tablet. Her lab coat was stained, and she looked like she hadn't slept in days. The Verax designs are perfect, yes, Minji continued. But that perfection is their weakness. Their creatures can only function in specific conditions. They're like expensive race cars, powerful but useless off the track. She showed them data on her tablet. I've developed a method to speed up evolution while keeping the core survival traits. Our organisms might not be as efficient as theirs, but they adapt. Put a Verax beast in the wrong environment, it dies. Our creatures find a way to live. Han Sol looked at the ugly, strange organisms in the various tanks around the lab. They were nothing like the sleek, elegant creatures the Verax had displayed. These were rough, misshapen things born of Earth's harshest places. How soon until we have something we can use against their ships? He asked. Jai-won checked her notes. The first generation should be ready in 2 weeks. Small-scale tests in a month. Hansol nodded grimly. The Verax gave us 1 month before they expect our answer. Make it count. As he left, Jaiwan turned to her team. You heard the Admiral. Let's get back to work. Minjo looked at the creatures they were developing. The Verax think they're superior because they can design perfect beasts, she said quietly. They've never had to fight anything forged in Earth's hells. 1 month after Project Hellforge began, Colonel Ta-hyun Ryu stood in a reinforced observation room. Through the thick glass, he watched scientists prepare for a demonstration. He had fought in wars on Earth, but the idea of fighting aliens with modified sea creatures seemed like madness to him. This is a waste of time, he muttered. Beside him, Dr. Jaiwan Kang smiled faintly. You might change your mind soon, Colonel. The room's lights dimmed as Admiral Hansol entered with Earth's military leaders. Everyone took their seats as a large screen lit up. Ladies and gentlemen, Jaiwan began. Today we show you Earth's first line of defense against the Verax threat. The screen showed a split image of 2 test chambers. In each was what looked like a small octopus, though one was clearly different. On the left is a Verax scout creature we captured from their Mars base, Jaiwan explained. On the right is one of ours, developed from deep-sea octopuses that live near volcanic vents. Researcher Min Ji-yoon stepped forward. We will now subject both to increasing stress tests. First, the temperature in both chambers began to rise. The Verax creature moved normally until about 50 degrees Celsius, then began to show signs of distress. At 75 degrees, it stopped moving. The Earth creature, however, continued to function even as the temperature passed 100 degrees. Their creature is perfectly engineered for a specific temperature range, Minji explained. Ours adapts. Next came radiation. The Verax creature died almost instantly when exposed. The Earth creature's skin darkened, but it kept moving. Now for the pressure test, Jaiwan said. As the pressure increased to levels found in deep ocean trenches, the Verax creature collapsed. The Earth octopus simply compressed its body and continued moving. Colonel Ta-hyun leaned forward with new interest. The final test showed the Earth creature actually eating metal parts from a small Verax device. It secreted an acid that dissolved the alien technology, then absorbed the components. When the lights came back on, the room was silent. That was just one example, Jaiwan said. We have developed dozens more. She brought up images of other organisms, clouds of microscopic particles that could destroy electronics, armored squid that could cut through hull material, bacteria that fed on the biological components of Verax ships. Admiral Hansol stood up. Can these creatures be controlled? We can't release weapons we can't manage. Minji nodded. Each has genetic limitations built in. They need specific nutrients to survive, which only we can provide. Without these nutrients, they die within hours. Ta-hyun finally spoke. How do we deploy them? Commander Gai-hun stepped forward with a smile. That's where your team comes in, Colonel. We've designed delivery systems that your special forces can use. He showed plans for small pods that could attach to Verax ships, specialized missiles that could release the organisms at key points, and infiltration methods to introduce them to Verax bases. When can we begin operations? Ta-hyun asked, now fully engaged. We already have, Jai-hun replied. A Verax scout ship approached too close to our Jupiter outpost yesterday. We tested our first deployment. He brought up satellite images of a Verax vessel drifting in space. Its smooth surface was now covered with strange growth patterns, and parts of it appeared to be dissolving. Their ship's biological components were consumed by our organisms, Jaiwan explained. The Verax sent distress signals, but couldn't explain what was happening. Admiral Hansol studied the images carefully. The Verax will respond with force now. They won't understand how we've done this. Good, Ta-hyun said firmly. Let them come. For the first time, I believe we have a chance. As the meeting ended, the colonel approached Jaiwan. I was wrong. he admitted. "These aren't just sea creatures. They're weapons worthy of Earth." Jaiwan looked at her data tablet showing dozens more organisms in development. "Colonel, you haven't seen anything yet. What we shown today is just the beginning." In orbit around Earth, the Verax fleet grew larger every day. The real test was coming soon. The Verax did not take the loss of their scout ship lightly. 3 days later, a fleet of 20 war vessels approached Earth's moon. Their ships moved in perfect formation, like a school of predatory fish. From Earth's lunar base, Captain Hyunwoo Kim watched the enemy approach on his screens. "All civilians have been evacuated to the deep shelters," his second-in-command reported. "Defense systems are at full power." Hyunwoo nodded. "And the special packages from Project Hellforge?" "In place, sir. Ready to deploy on your command." The largest Verax ship opened like a flower blooming. From inside came hundreds of smaller shapes, living weapons heading straight for the lunar base. "They're releasing their attack creatures," Hyunwoo said calmly. "Exactly as expected." Through the base's cameras, they could see the Verax creatures clearly now. Some looked like large insects with metallic parts growing from their bodies. Others were snake-like beings that slithered across the lunar surface at incredible speed. All moved with deadly purpose toward the human settlement. "Time to see if Project Hellforge works in real combat," Hyunwoo said. "Deploy our first wave." Outside the base, hidden containers opened. From them emerged Earth's own biological weapons, ugly, misshapen things that looked nothing like the elegant Verax creatures. These were armored beasts bred from deep sea life, modified tardigrades the size of dogs, and clouds of microscopic organisms that floated like mist in the low lunar gravity. The two forces met. At first, the Verax creatures cut through Earth's defenses with terrifying efficiency. They moved faster, struck harder, and seemed perfectly designed for combat. Moon base personnel watched nervously as the first line of Earth creatures fell. "Don't worry," Hyunwoo told his anxious crew. "Keep watching." As the battle continued, something changed. The Verax creatures, so perfect in their initial attack, began to slow down. Earth's hell-bred organisms, when damaged, began to adapt. The microscopic clouds settled on Verax creatures, eating through their protective shells. The modified tardigrades, even when cut in half, continued fighting, each half growing into a new attacker. Dr. Du-Yun Wang monitored the battle from Earth via video link. "The Verax creatures are failing," she reported to Admiral Hansel. "They can't adapt to our changing tactics." On the screens, they watched as Earth's creatures began to turn the tide. The Verax biological weapons, deadly but unchanging, couldn't adjust when faced with enemies that evolved mid-battle. In the Verax command ship, Ambassador Krell received disturbing reports. "Impossible," he hissed to his commanders. "Their creatures are primitive, ugly things. How are they defeating our perfect warriors?" "They change," a Verax scientist explained, confusion in his voice. "They adapt their biological functions during combat. We've never seen anything like it." Krell's face darkened. "Humans are more dangerous than we thought. Launch all attack forces. Overwhelm them with numbers." Back at the moon base, Hyunwoo saw the second wave approaching. Thousands of Verax creatures now streaming toward them. "Deploy everything we have," he ordered, "and prepare the new strain." The new strain was Project Hellforge's most recent creation. Organisms developed from bacteria found in nuclear waste sites. These microscopic fighters could reproduce every few minutes and specifically targeted the neural systems of Verax bioweapons. As the battle raged across the lunar surface, Earth's forces slowly pushed back the alien attackers. The Verax creatures, unable to adapt to the constantly changing threat, began to fall in greater numbers. 6 hours later, Captain Hyunwoo sent a message to Earth. "Moon base secure. Verax forces retreating." Project Hellforge has proven effective in combat conditions. From her lab, Jaiwan watched the victory with mixed feelings. "This is just the beginning," she told her team. "The Verax won't make the same mistakes twice. They'll come back with something worse." Her prediction was right. 2 days later, Earth's deep space sensors detected massive ships entering the solar system. The Verax were bringing their planet killers. The mood in Project Hellforge's main lab was grim. On the large screens, everyone could see the 3 massive Verax ships that had entered the solar system. Each was larger than a small moon. "Planet killers," Admiral Hansol explained to the science team. "According to the data we captured, they carry organisms designed to make worlds uninhabitable. They release these creatures into the atmosphere and oceans. Within days, nothing survives." Dr. Jaiwan Kang felt a chill run through her body. All their progress, all their small victories, might mean nothing against such weapons. "How long do we have?" she asked. 5 days until they reach Earth," Hansol replied. "Our conventional weapons can't stop ships that size." The room fell silent until researcher Minji spoke up. "Then we need unconventional weapons, something the Verax would never expect." Jaiwan turned to her team. "What's the oldest organism on Earth? The one that survived everything nature has thrown at it?" Dr. Du Yun Wang, who specialized in ancient life forms, answered quickly. "Archaebacteria. They've survived for over 3.5 billion years. Through asteroid impacts, ice ages, massive volcanic eruptions, and radiation levels that would kill everything else." "That's what we need," Jaiwan decided. "If anything can fight Verax planet killers, it's organisms that have already survived Earth's worst extinction events." For the next 3 days, Project Hellforge worked without rest. They collected extremophile bacteria from the deepest ocean vents, from pools of pure acid, from inside nuclear reactors, and even from the vacuum-exposed surfaces of space stations. Minji worked on accelerating their adaptive abilities even further. Du Yan found ways to combine different survival traits into single organisms. Ji1 focused on making sure they could target Verax biological systems specifically. Admiral Hansol returned on the 4th day, bringing Major Seijin Park with him. "Your delivery system," Hansol said, gesturing to the Major. "She leads our best space fighter squad." Seijin looked skeptically at the containers of what appeared to be ordinary liquid. "These are the weapons that will save Earth." "Don't let appearances fool you," Jaiwan said. "Inside these containers are trillions of organisms that can survive any environment the Verax create. They don't just fight the alien creatures, they infect and repurpose them." Seijin nodded slowly. "How do we deploy them?" "Direct contact," Jaiwan explained. "You need to attach these pods to the outer hull of the planet killer ships. Once attached, our organisms will eat through the hull and enter their biological systems." The Major's eyes widened. "That's a suicide mission. We'd have to fly right up to those massive ships." "We know," Hansol said quietly. "That's why we're asking for volunteers only." Seijin stood straighter. "I'll lead the mission myself." On the final day, 12 small fighter ships prepared to launch. Each carried special pods containing Project Hellforge's most advanced creation. Microscopic predators evolved from life that had survived Earth's worst environments for billions of years. Major Seijin checked her ship's systems one last time. Through her viewport, she could see the 3 enormous Verax vessels now visible in Earth's sky. They had begun opening like giant flowers, preparing to release their planet-killing organisms. "This is Major Park to all pilots," she said into her comm. "Remember the plan. Get close, attach your pods, and get out. If you can't get out," she paused, "make sure those pods attach." As their ships launched toward the massive alien vessels, Earth held its breath. On their screens, Project Hellforge watched the small human fighters approach the planet killers. "They're so small compared to those ships," Minji whispered. Jaiwan nodded, "but they carry Earth's oldest survivors. If anything can save us, it's the organisms that have outlived everything else on our planet." The Verax, confident in their superior bioweapons, never expected the tiny human ships that slipped past their defenses. They never imagined that Earth's last hope would come from its first life forms, creatures that had survived in hell for billions of years. Major Se-Jin Park's fighter dodged energy beams as she flew toward the largest Verax planet killer. 4 of her squad's ships had already been destroyed. She watched as another exploded nearby. "Keep going," she ordered the remaining pilots. "We only need a few pods to attach." As she flew closer, Se-Jin could see the massive ship clearly. Its surface wasn't metal, but a living material that pulsed and moved. Parts of it opened like mouths, releasing clouds of biological weapons toward Earth. Almost in range, she told her team. "Prepare to deploy pods." On Earth, Admiral Hansol watched from command headquarters. Beside him, Dr. Je-Won Kang and her team monitored the Hellforge organisms in the pods. "Major Park is approaching the target," an officer reported. "The Verax are launching their main attack force," another said. The screen showed thousands of bioweapons leaving the 3 planet killer ships. Some were large creatures that looked like flying rays. Others were clouds of microscopic organisms designed to destroy Earth's atmosphere. "Our conventional defenses won't stop those," Hansol said grimly. Je-Won touched her earpiece. "Major, you have to hurry. The planet killers have released their primary weapons." In space, Se-Jin's ship shook as it was hit by debris. "Almost there," she replied. 3 more of her squad's ships had reached their targets. She watched as they released their pods onto the surface of the Verax vessels. "Pods attached to targets 2 and 3, a pilot reported. "But they've spotted us." "Defenses air." His transmission cut off as his ship exploded. Se-Jin's fighter was now the only one approaching the main ship. Verax defensive creatures swarmed around her, trying to stop her approach. "I'm not going to make it to the planned drop point," she reported. "Going to try something else." She turned her ship directly toward the planet killer and pushed her engines to maximum speed. "Major, what are you doing?" Hansol demanded. "Delivering the package," she replied calmly. "The pods are inside my ship. If I can't attach them to the hull, I'll take them inside." On Earth, silence fell across the command center as they realized what she planned. "Se-Jin?" "No," Je-Won began. "It's been an honor." Se-Jin cut in. "Make sure those hell beasts of yours do their job." Her ship crashed through the outer layer of the Verax vessel, burrowing deep into its biological systems before exploding. The impact released all the Hellforge organisms directly into the heart of the planet killer. For several minutes, nothing seemed to happen. The Verax ships continued releasing their weapons. Earth's defenses fired desperately at the approaching threats. Then, one by one, the screens monitoring the Verax ships showed changes. Strange patterns appeared on their surfaces. Parts stopped moving. The flow of bioweapons slowed. "It's working," Je-Won whispered. "Our organisms are attacking their biological systems." The Verax planet killers began to convulse as if in pain. Their perfect surfaces became covered with growths and discolorations. The release of attack creatures stopped completely. Engineer Je-Won Cho, who had been analyzing Verax technology, pointed to new data coming in. "The ships themselves are partly alive," he explained. "Our organisms aren't just destroying their weapons, they're eating the ships from the inside out." Admiral Hansol watched in amazement as the 3 massive planet killers began to break apart. "How is this possible? Their technology is thousands of years beyond ours." "Not technology," Je-Won corrected. "Biology. And Earth's biology has been tested by 4 billion years of survival." The Verax never understood what that meant. As the planet killers disintegrated, their attack forces died with them. The clouds of bioweapons dissipated in space. The larger creatures stopped moving and drifted lifelessly. But the victory celebration was short-lived. New alerts sounded across the command center. "Sir," an officer called out, "we're detecting a new ship entering Earth orbit. It's the Verax flagship." Hansol looked at the screens showing the enormous vessel approaching Earth. "They're not attacking," he said, surprised. "They're hailing us. They want to talk." Jaiwan looked at the remains of the planet killers now floating in space. "Maybe they finally have something worth saying," she replied. The Verax flagship hung in Earth's orbit like a beautiful but deadly flower. It was 3 times larger than any human ship ever built. Its surface shimmered with colors no human eye had seen before. In Earth's main conference room, Admiral Hansol Park and Dr. Ji-won Kang prepared to meet the Verax commander. Armed guards stood at every door. Scientists checked for any sign of biological weapons. "Are we sure this isn't a trap?" Hansol asked as they waited. Ji-won checked her tablet showing scans of the Verax ship. "Their weapons are powered down, and they've seen what our organisms can do now. They know we can hurt them." The door opened. Ambassador Krell entered, followed by a taller Verax with elaborate markings on its blue skin. Unlike their previous meetings, the aliens moved with caution, even respect. "Admiral Park, Dr. Kang," Krell said. "This is High Commander Mevray of the Verax Dominion." The commander stepped forward. When he spoke, his voice was deeper than Krell's. "For 50,000 years, the Verax have ruled this sector of space," Mevray began. "In all that time, no species has ever destroyed our planet killers." Hansol stood tall. "We were defending our home." "Yes," Mevray agreed. "And you did so in a way we never anticipated. This is why I have come personally." Jaiwan noticed something in the commander's voice. Not anger, but curiosity. Mevray continued, "Our scientists cannot explain what happened to our ships. Your weapons should not have been effective. Your technology is thousands of years behind ours." "It wasn't technology," Jaiwan explained. "It was biology. Life that evolved on Earth." The commander's large eyes blinked slowly. "We have studied your planet from afar. It is unusually hostile. Extreme temperatures, radiation, toxic chemicals, high gravity. By all logic, advanced life should not have developed here." "Earth isn't just a planet," Jaiwan said. "It's a forge. Every creature here had to fight to survive. Natural selection chose only the strongest, most adaptable organisms." Krell seemed disturbed by this conversation. "Commander, these humans are still primitive. They barely understand genetic engineering. They use ugly, unpredictable creatures instead of precisely designed ones." "And yet," Mevray replied, "their ugly, unpredictable creatures destroyed our perfect ones." He turned back to the humans. "We have a saying, perfect design requires perfect understanding. Perhaps our understanding was not as perfect as we believed." Hansol saw an opening. "We don't want war with the Verax. We want peace, but as equals, not as your subjects." The commander was quiet for a long moment. "The Verax Dominion does not make peace with lesser species, but perhaps humans are not lesser after all." He placed a data device on the table. "This contains information about our biological engineering techniques. In exchange, we wish to study how you created organisms that could defeat ours." Jaiwan looked at the device, then at Hansol, who nodded. "We're willing to share knowledge," she said, "but Earth remains independent. That's our condition." "Agreed," Mevray said, surprising Krell. "The Verax have conquered 1,000 worlds, but none like Earth, none that bred its protectors in conditions we would consider hell." Later, as the Verax returned to their ship, Ji-won and Captain Dae-ho Kim stood by a window watching Earth's sunset. "Do you think they'll keep their word?" Dae-ho asked. "They're practical," Ji-won replied. "They won't risk losing more ships to our hell beasts." Dae-ho smiled. "When they first came, they thought we were primitive because we used machines instead of biological engineering. And they were partly right," Ji-won said. "Our technology isn't as advanced as theirs. But they missed something important." "What's that?" Ji-won looked at the beautiful but harsh planet they called home. "Earth didn't just give us resources or intelligence. It gave us the ability to adapt, to survive against impossible odds. The Verax engineered perfect creatures in safe laboratories. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every step of the way. As night fell across Earth, the Verax flagship moved away, not in retreat, but with a new respect for the blue planet and the resilient species it had produced. The end.